beauty queens, what is going on, everyone? I have missed y'all so much and I hope you guys are doing fabulous this week. It is currently January 18th and I am recording at 6:37 this morning because I was actually scheduled to work an entire shift today, and as soon as my man went outside to go start my car, I look at my phone and I got a message from Charge Nurse at 5 this morning saying, Darian, no need to come in, we are pushing you back for 3 hours. I legit was fully dressed, but they didn't need me today because I'm assuming there's not a lot of moms in labor and delivery. So I figured I would just start this morning off with a video since I was already ready and I didn't have time to record one yesterday. So I did write down everything that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. And I figured it would be such an amazing opportunity to talk to you guys about the pros and cons of working a night shift. If you guys follow me on Instagram already, you guys probably already seen the post that I dedicated to pros and cons of night shifts. However, I kind of wanted to elaborate on all of those tips a little bit more, as well as add in a few others that I thought of while I was jotting down all of the topic ideas. As most of you guys know, I did come back from working night shifts. I was a night shift nurse for an entire year and I recently switched to day shifts at the ending of September. So I figured it would be very beneficial to do an entire YouTube video talking about the pros and the cons of night shifts. Without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and just jump right into this video. All right, y'all, so I figured it was only necessary to start with all of the pros of working as a night shift nurse. And the first one is being that extra differential, sis. At my hospital, they do an 18% differential from your base pay. So I did an entire YouTube video on the amount that I made as a new grad RN working night shifts. And I will go ahead and link that video right here if you guys were interested. But I can tell you guys, first and foremost, working nights is where I got the chunkiest paychecks. So the second pro of working on nights as a new grad, it is just a calmer environment in general. I feel like the staff, the patients, everything is a little less overwhelming and stimulating, and it's just easier to go about your workday because you don't have as much people walking around talking to you, asking you questions as you do as a night shift nurse. All right, so the biggest thing while working night shift as a new grad is I felt like it was so much of a slower pace to work at, and it was just more comfortable because you don't have so much, like I said, doctors, nurses walking around, lots of family members because visiting hours are already over by the time night shift gets in. You're working at a slower pace and you have so much time to triple check your medications, make sure that your tubing is correct, make sure drugs are compatible. I feel like day shifts, I have to constantly remind myself to relax. I'm on my own time. So the other pro that I think is actually pretty funny is that I don't feel like there's a need to be late when working night shift, right? My shifts when I was working was 7 p.m. until 7:30 a.m. So I would wake up around the 5 o'clock hour to start getting ready for work. And it's funny because I just felt like, dang, if you're late to night shift, sis, like you are genuinely trying to be late, because I don't understand how anyone could sleep past 5 p.m. Like naturally, my body is just up already so early in the morning. So definitely trying to switch to the night shift routine was very hard, and I'll get more into the cons later on throughout this video. But I personally don't think that you should be late when working night shifts because you have more than enough time to get ready, get up. So it's kind of just an insider that we all crack. So whenever a night shift nurse comes in late, we're like, are you serious? So it's just really funny to think of it that way. This is kind of going based off of the other pro that I had just mentioned, but I also feel like there is just less traffic when trying to get to work as opposed to getting to work early in the morning. I always think about when I was working night shift as the entire world is literally going home and they're sleeping while I'm just waking up and I'm hustling, right? Day shift, not so much. Everyone is up, getting ready with you, going to work at the same time as you. So like that AM morning traffic, guys, sis, forget about it. The 16 minutes that it would normally take me to get to work on night shift literally turns into double on days. It's ridiculous and absolutely absurd. So know that when working night shift, you are naturally going to run into less traffic and the roads are beautiful. I also feel like another pro of working night shift is the fact that there is easy parking. I felt like I never struggled finding parking. As a day shift nurse, I do naturally park on the very top floor of my parking garage. However, the parking garage is pretty packed on the first, second, and the third floor, and I'm barely finding parking on the fourth. However, I don't like parking there, so the fifth floor is where I normally park, but there's still so much people. And with night shifts, you go into that parking garage, you can find a parking spot on the first floor, no problem. But I feel like the cons to working night shifts definitely outweigh the pros in my personal opinion, and I couldn't wait to switch to day shifts. I feel, however, working nights as a new grad was 1000% beneficial to my learning because of the less chaos going on. However, the sleep schedule is the thing that is the biggest turning point and the biggest adjustment for me. So with all of those pros being said, I think it is only necessary to go ahead and start talking about these night shift cons. I had to say this con first because I felt like this was the biggest turn off to me when making my decision on whether or not I should move from night shift to day shift, and that is never having a set schedule. I feel like the worst part about working nights is I was never able to have a routine. I can't even tell you what I did and how I got used to night shifts because I genuinely feel like I never got used to night shifts, if I'm being quite honest. It was always planning with night shifts. It was like, okay, if I go to sleep at this time, I'm gonna get 6 hours of sleep, and then I'll wake up and I'll go grocery shopping with you, but then I have to get this nap in. Like, it was just too much thought, too much going on, all for working at night. And I'm telling you, there was days that I would be going on 36 hours without sleeping. And I felt okay, like I didn't feel delusional, but also that's not okay for you naturally as a human being. You need to have your 6 to 8 hours every single night of rest. You need to be well rested so that way you could perform and have safe patient care. So if there was one thing that I was constantly complaining about, it was not being the old me and not having the set schedule, because I personally feel like I thrive off of routine, off of things getting written down and completing those tasks as they come about. And for night shifts, it was kind of just like, guys, I'm living in this constant fog and I need to fit sleep in to this entire schedule somehow. So I just could not wrap my head around not having a set schedule, and it was just too overwhelming for me at a point. So the other con to working night shifts is that the time goes by very slow. I remember hitting the 4 a.m. o'clock hour and that just being my moment where I just needed to zone out the entire world. I was getting very sleepy at 4 a.m. and I would do everything in my power to stay up for the additional 3 hours. Like, I caught myself walking around, making a tea, going down to the cafeteria, restocking things, grabbing extra waters for my patients, doing a lot of little tasks before the nurses come, just so that way I could keep my eyes open. The time just moves by so much slower than working day shifts. I can tell you guys, first and foremost, day shifts, I am running around. So going back to the circadian rhythm being thrown off, but I do want to just kind of put a little bit more emphasis on how my circadian rhythm got thrown off and how hard it was to juggle being on a night shift schedule. So I remember that there were days where I, again, like I said, wouldn't sleep for 36 hours plus. I remember that I would either eat a lot or I wouldn't eat at all, and my weight was just kind of fluctuating working on night shifts. And also TMI, my GI system, I felt like there were days where I wasn't having a bowel movement, and then other days I was just flowing, girlfriend. So I know that was a lot, but I feel like your body is trying to play catch up and you're not allowing it to do so. And so that's when I knew it was time to make that day shift move. So another con for working night shifts is that I always would sleep on my lunch breaks. The 30-minute lunch breaks that we have, I remember grabbing sometimes a pillow, a blanket, going in. We had a little do not disturb and relaxing room where they had a sound machine, a light source, cute cute little candle couch inside of there, and it was just a spot that any nurse could go to, switch the tile on the door to stay in use, I think it says, and you just go in there and you relax. And it's so funny because when I think about going to sleep while working as a day shift nurse, I'm very like, what? I would never go to sleep on my lunch break, but I would be looking forward to going to sleep on my lunch breaks every single shift that I was working. So another con to working nights is that after work, you are leaving the hospital at the 7:30 o'clock hour. You don't get home until 8 a.m. But those 30 minutes or however long it takes you to get back home from the hospital is literally the longest 30 minutes of your entire life. You are nogging off. You are just so tired and you're doing everything in your power to stay awake. And especially if you are coming back from night shifts and you're done working your 3 in a row, that last day of a drive back home, it's so questionable on whether or not you're gonna make it there safe or not. I remember rolling down my windows, playing like a very hyped up song, trying to sing along with it, not wearing sunglasses because I needed the natural sunlight to hit my eyes. And my goodness, guys, the post night shift exhaustion is legit, no joke. Be safe, y'all, truly be safe, because it is scary. A huge comparison that I would have to make as a day shift nurse now versus night shift is that during the day, I feel like there's a lot more hands on deck. There's a lot more resources, and being that, like I said, there's a lot more people working, you are going to naturally have a lot more resources. And the nighttime, you don't really have all those resources walking around. For example, if I am in the middle of taking care of very acute and severe patient situation and I don't have time to go put an IV in another patient, I'll quickly order SWAT to go insert this IV. So by the time I'm out of the room of the patient that I was working with, my IV's already inserted in the next room over. So I feel like the orders that you put in are answered a lot quicker, whereas night shifts, it's a little harder to get those drawn. You're the nurse pulling and drawing all of your labs that you need. So that's that. All right, y'all. So the last con that I have for today's video is that I feel like when working nights, you are doing a lot of things to prepare yourself to go to sleep. And like I said, you're not going to sleep in a natural way. I remember putting on my blackout curtains. I would make sure that my blankets and my bed looked absolutely perfect, so that way when I lay down, I just go to sleep. I would spray my pillow down with melatonin spray. I would grab a sleeping mask, sleep with that. I would turn on my sound machine, and I would just be doing the absolute most to go to sleep. And it just was something that wasn't realistic for me, and I just couldn't do anymore. All right, y'all. So that is the ending of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and you guys were able to pull something fun and interesting from it. I know it seems like I had a lot more cons than pros to night shifts because y'all, it was just a whole other world working night shifts. Goodness gracious, let me tell you, I'm so grateful and happy that I made the switch. So just like always, friends, I hope you guys have a beautiful, blessed rest of your guys' days and weeks. And until next time, I will see you guys in next week's upload. Have a good day.